वरदारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीचन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीचन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधवा कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा शील प्रभुपदा जीवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रभुदेव सदस्य श्रीमती स्वयं श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापक शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। जीवं विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रभुदेव सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। जीवं विष्णुपाद श्री किशोरदास महाराज की जय। जीवं विष्णुपाद सच्चिदानंद शिल भक्ति ठाकुर की जय। जीवं विष्णुपाद वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास महाराज की जय। जय श्री रूप सनातन रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। नमाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव साधि गौरव भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री गौरांगी भगवरीश्वर भगवान की जय। श्री माहीपुर धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वंदे की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। इस्कॉन वर्तमान गुरु वंदे की जय। समाहित भक्त वंदे की जय। गौरव प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled. All glories to the assembled. All glories to the assembled. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वती व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अपत्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिः। Hare Krishna, welcome to you all to this Friday morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 56. लब्ध्वा द्रव्यमयीम् अर्चां क्षिति अम्बादिषु वार्चयेत् अमृतात्मा मुनिः शान्तो यतवान् मितवन्यभूक्। लब्ध्वा द्रव्यमयीम् अर्चां क्षिति अम्बादिषु वार्चयेत् अमृतात्मा मुनिः शान्तो यतवान् मितवन्यभूक्। लब्ध्वा द्रव्यमयीम् अर्चां क्षिति अम्बादिषु वार्चयेत् अपृतात्मा मुनिः शान्तो यतवान् मितवन्यभूक्। Translation Srila Prabhupada की जय। It is possible to worship a form of the Lord made of physical elements such as earth, water, pulp, wood, and metal. In the forest, one can make a form with no more than earth and water and worship him according to the above principles. A devotee who has full control over his self should be very sober and peaceful and must be satisfied simply with eating whatever fruits and vegetables are available in the forest. It is essential for a devotee to worship the form of the Lord and not only meditate upon the form of the Lord within his mind with the chanting of the mantra given by the spiritual master. The worship of the form must be present. The impersonalist takes unnecessarily trouble to meditate upon or worship something impersonal, and the path is very precarious. We are not advised to follow the impersonalist way of meditating on or worshipping the Lord. Dhruva Maharaj was advised to worship a form made of earth and water because in the jungle, if it is not possible to have a form made of metal, wood, or stone, the best process is to take earth mixed with water and make a form of the Lord and worship Him. The devotee should not be anxious about cooking food. Whatever is available in the forest or in the city among the fruit and vegetable groups should be offered to the deity, and the devotee should be satisfied eating that. He should not be anxious to have very palatable dishes. Of course, wherever it is possible, one should offer the deities the best foodstuffs prepared within the category of fruits and vegetables, cooked or uncooked. The important factor is that the devotee should be regulated, meet a book. That is one of the good qualifications of a devotee. He should not hanker to satisfy the tongue with a particular kind of foodstuff. He should be satisfied to eat whatever prasada is available by the grace ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सात्विकं सगुण रघुनाथं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तनु प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय मांछकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मोहन करोति वचनं कुंतुम नंदेति कृपातरं युगवन्दिनतारणं परमानन्दं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So in this sloka today, Narad Muni is instructing Dhruva Maharaj to emphasize on the process of deity worship and how it is to be, how the deity is to be carved, and how, what offering should be made to the deities. Now, Dhruva Maharaj is in the forest, so there are limitations in terms of availability. But here we see that Srila Prabhupada has mentioned the purport. Deities can be made of physical elements such as earth, water, pulp, wood, and metal. So, in the forest, one can make a form with none other than earth and water because no other ingredients are available. So, based on the principles of deity worship, if earth and water is available, one can make a deity made out of earth and water. And it may be possible that many places even only water will be available. So, one can even mentally worship them with water also. So, mental worship is much more emphasized uh, sometimes in and physical worship also. The reason is that in physical worship of the Lord, many times we may commit offenses, but then it is said that in the Pancharadhara Pradipa that if we are able to offer mental worship and then proceed with the physical worship, then that is much more better because at least we have a proper mindset before we start worshipping the deity physically. I mean, this is one of the points. So here, Dhruva Maharaj was advised to make a form of earth and water because it is a jungle. And the best process is to mix earth with water and make a form as per the scriptures and worship the Lord. So we will discuss some of the important points related to deity worship. Generally, Grihasthas reside outside the temple and they are recommended to take up worship of the deities to purify their consciousness. Those who reside in the temple, their consciousness need not be contaminated because they are regularly attend temple programs, worship the deities, and be a part of kirtan, etc. But grihasthas, they generally live outside. So for them to be connected to the temples, one of the processes is that they worship the deities to purify their consciousness. But also what happens is that in the process of worshipping the deities, one becomes free from the concept of I and mine, which is very common in the grihasthas. Now, deity worship is different from idol worship. But it becomes idol worship if one engages in nonsense activities or the service attitude is not there. Deities are not meant to look at us, but we have to be eager to see the beauty of the deity. And the prayer should be that we are your servants. That should be the mood. So if that attitude is not there, it is said that it becomes a idol worship. And bhakti has a great effect due to the deities present in the house. Srila Prabhupada's example itself is there that when his father was ringing the bell of Srila Radha Govind, the deities in his house, they would invite sadhus regularly to the house and seek blessings from them so as to make the child Krishna consciousness. So the house was like a temple in Srila Prabhupada's case. In fact, deities are invited to the house so that an atmosphere of a temple is generated within the house itself, whereby one unties the family knots that becomes established within the Grihastha. Generally, it is said that idol worship means worshipping someone or one who is not God or worship a concocted form of a God. So the source of knowledge is given in the scriptures. What does the Lord look like? What are his pastimes? And scriptures are revealed scriptures and are revealed only when we are ready. And that means that absolute truth is not is revealed more than seen. So one has to be revealed by that. That process is what is called devotional service. So there is a difference between our gross body and the Lord's subtle body. The Lord has, we have a material body made out of earth, water, fire, air, etc. Whereas the Lord's body is spiritual and he is imperishable. He is unborn, but still he appears to perform his pastimes. His birth is divine. That's why in the Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, it's a Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. His birth is transcendental, his activities are also transcendental. Now, this world, material world, is called Kunta because it is full of anxieties. Whereas in the spiritual world, it is known as Vaikunta, where the Lord resides in a spiritual form. But we are not in a position to conceive of a spiritual form of the Lord made of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. So, in order for us to understand that the Lord has got a form, the Lord is present in the deity form, and it is said that the scriptures mention as to how what should be the form of the Lord. The Lord has got many forms, like Lord Rama, Narsimha, Krishna, many avatars are there, and many forms are there. The scriptures decide what should be the form, like the size, dimensions, and etc. So one cannot speculate on these aspects of the form. So there is a description in the scriptures as to how a deity is carved, which is a science which is mentioned in the Vedas. So deity form is authorized worship. And the Lord himself descends into the deity out of his costless mercy. So deity is not a statue, but Lord is physically present in that. But any other form other than the Lord is an idol worship. Examples are in the Shastras, like the Goswamis were worshipping the forms of the Lord, like Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was worshipping Madan Mohan deity. It is said that he was staying in Vrindavana and he would go to Mathura, all the way to Mathura for Madhukari. They were sustaining themselves only on Madhukari. So one day he noticed a group of boys who were playing, and after that they finished. Sanatana Goswami saw one of the boys within that group. He was very, very beautiful and was having a glowing effulgence. Sanatana Goswami could not stop seeing that boy, and the boy later entered into a temple managed by one person called Purushottam Chaube. So Sanatana Goswami also followed that boy, and then when he followed the boy, there was no one in the temple at that time other than the deity. So Sanatana Goswami realized that the Lord was playing with other children, and like any other child. So one day, Srila Sanatana Goswami had a dream where the Lord appeared and told him of his desire to come with Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami told the Lord, this was the Madan Mohan deity. And Sanatana Goswami told the Lord that he's a renunciant and how could he take care of the deity? But the Lord still insisted, no, I would like to come with you. So Sanatana Goswami actually brought the deity with him to Vrindavan and he started worshipping him. As he was on Madhukari, the only offering that he could give the deity was just water and flowers, apart from some dry chapatis that he would get from Madhukari. So one day, the Lord was seeing that the chapati, which Sanatana Goswami had no salt, and the Lord himself told that the chapatis don't have salt. So I will need some salt. So tomorrow, Sanatana Goswami said that, told the Lord that I'm a renunciant. Today you are asking salt. Tomorrow you may ask me some sweets. And then I'm an old man and I have many books to be written. So please be satisfied with these dry chapatis. So this is how Sanatana Goswami was such an exalted personality that he could relate himself with the deities. And then it is said that one day there was a merchant in the name of Ramdas Kapoor. He was ferrying a boat with salt. And at that time, and he had many valuable goods also in the boat, and the boat got stuck on the Yamuna near the Dvashadityatila, where Sanatana Goswami was actually worshipping the deity. So the merchant was desperately looking for some help when a small boy told the merchant that you take help from Srila Sanatana Goswami. The merchant went and saw Sanatana Goswami and told him that his boat was stuck. Sanatana Goswami said that I'm a very old person, but then you can pray to Madan Mohan deities who can be of some help to you. So as soon as the merchant offered obeisance and offered prayers to Madan Mohan deity, there was a big, huge rain and followed by thunder and etc. And it is said that the boat was freed. So the merchant was very, very thankful to Srila Sanatana Goswami, and he asked Sanatana Goswami if he could be of some help to him. Sanatana Goswami said that I'm a renunciant. I don't need anything, but you could build a temple for Madan Mohan. So the merchant then went to Agra, sold the goods, whatever he had, and it is said that with the profit that he made, he built a temple for Madan Mohan. That temple is still there in Vrindavan. So the Lord gives mercy to his devotees by taking service from the devotees in terms of dressing, cooking, festivals, and so forth. Also, the Lord has got a form and he is not limited like us. We have limitations in our form. We have height, we have width, and we have so many these things in our body also, but we have limitations. Whereas God, though he is a person, he can be present in the smallest of the form also, and he can be present in the biggest of the form also. He does not have limitations like us. So for genuine devotees, by the process of authorized deity worship, the Lord reciprocates with his devotees. And the deity does not remain anymore a stone. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that there are 5 limbs of devotional service. Even a small, slight performance of the 5 limbs with the that is association with devotees, chanting the holy name of the Lord, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, visiting holy places, and deity worship. So even a small amount of service performed in any of these awakens one's love for Krishna, which is constitutionally present in every living entity. Similarly, there is an example of Srila Rupa Goswami, who's on whom Lord manifested his mercy in the name of Shishi Radha Damodar. Rupa Goswami had this Radha Damodar deity who then gave it to Sri Jiva Goswami for his service. The Lord was very pleased with Jiva Goswami and would ask for some food, and Jiva Goswami would watch actually the Lord eating also. So one day when the Lord was playing his flute with a smile in his face, he called Jiva Goswami to come and watch the dance. So it is said that Jiva Goswami, after seeing the Lord playing at flute and dancing, he fell unconscious. So this is one of the pastimes with Jiva Goswami with Radha Damodar deity, which is also present in Vrindavan. It is said that even when Srila Prabhupada was there at a very young age, his father would worship the house deities, and Srila Prabhupada, as a small child, would be lying down, and he would, when his father would ring the bell, Srila Prabhupada would actually, as Abhay, would wash the deities right from the time. And so that process started right from the time Srila Prabhupada was in his youth, as a small child. Then it is said that when at a very young age, Srila Prabhupada, Abhay wanted to have a rath, like what he had heard about when he heard about the Puri Rath Yatra. So they were not of a very financially well sound. So his father went to a couple of carpenters. He thought they could buy a new one, but they could not afford. But Abhay started crying, and then an old woman approached asking that what was he crying for. The father said that he was looking for a rath, but they could not afford. Then the lady said that she has one and she could give it to them. So she brought it and gave it to his father, Abhay's father. So then they repaired that car, and Abhay said that Abhay himself painted it, though he was a small child, which then it looked like a typical Rath in the Puri Rath Yatra. So then Abhay had a full Rath Yatra festival for 8 days in his house, even as a child. His father would spend a lot of money hosting guests and distributing prasadam. And his mother would cook a lot of nice, tasty dishes. So Abhay himself learned how to dress the deities, offering bhoga, etc. at that age. Then it is said that at 6 he wanted his father for a set of Radha Krishna deities, and his father brought him Radha Govind the deity, which he started worshipping by imitating his father. And whatever way aid, he offered them to the Radha Govinda deities. So that's how Srila Prabhupada was engaged in deity worship right when he was a child. It is also said that this deity form of the Lord is the first stage of one's God realization. The reason is that the Lord has got a spiritual form which one cannot conceive. So the Lord manifests in the form of a deity, and those who go to the temple and see the beauty of the Lord in the deity form, they establish a sort of a relationship with the deities, and that is the beginning of the one's God realization. That's why we see that many times people worship impersonal form of the Lord and in other faith, and they don't have this conception like what we have. So deity worship is the first process of God realization. And then gradually one comes to the last stage that is called Bhagavan realization. And it is said that there are many more stages in between that, that is Brahman, Paramatma, and so forth. And if we are not able to establish a relationship with the deity, then there is no point of even going to the temple. So purpose of going to a temple is to see the beauty of the Lord and establish a relationship with the Lord. And it's said that the relationship starts with one first offering obeisances first to the deity. So this offering obeisances to the deity is very, very important. And it is said, mentioned in the Dwarka Mahatmya, that when one offers obeisance to the deity, all of the sins are removed. And it is not comparable to even conducting 10 Ashwamedha Yajnas. So even that performing the 10 Ashwamedha Yajnas, it is said that one may become a great king or a very great personality, political or a big multi-billionaire or so forth. One may get a birth like that. But one who offers obeisance to the Lord does not have to take birth again in this material world, provided it is done in the right spirit. That is offering everything to the Lord. That is what we call dandavats. That is the 8 elements of this material body with growth, gross, and subtle to the Lord. The mode should be that everything is offered to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and the Lord. Not only the 8 aspects of the material body, but also that everything that belongs to me is offered to the Lord. That means whatever we have, we offer it to the Lord. That is the main purpose of offering the dandavats. It is said that when Srila Prabhupada would offer obeisances to the Lord, he would offer his dandavats for a very, very long time. And the devotees would wonder as to when he would be getting up. And even at the time of Rath Yatra is normally done in the middle of the road. So even at that time, Srila Prabhupada would offer obeisances in the middle of the road for a very long time. So devotees would think that maybe because of his old age, that because he was around 76, he's offering obeisances for a very long time. But later on, when after he would get up, they would see that his eyes were flooded with tears out of love for the Lord. So that was how they realized that Srila Prabhupada was not an ordinary personality, but was a great devotee of the Lord. That was his true love and affection for the Lord. There is a reference quote in Srimad Bhagavatam where there are 2 slokas in the 11th canto of Srimad. The translation says, the devotee should offer homage to the Lord with all kinds of hymns and prayers, both from the Puranas and from the ancient scriptures. That means one should offer obeisances to the Lord, plus also offer all kinds of hymns and prayers from the Puranas and the ancient scriptures. Of course, we have our mantras which we offer when we offer obeisances. Praying to the Lord, the devotee should say, "O Lord, please be merciful to me." You should fall down flat like a rod to offer his obeisances. So when we offer obeisances, we should fall flat like a rod and pray to the Lord that please be merciful to me. And the next sloka says, placing his head at the lotus feet of the deity, He should then stand with folded hands before the Lord and pray, "O my Lord, please protect me, who am surrendered unto you. I am most fearful of this ocean of material existence, standing as I am in the mouth of death." So this is how one prays in front of the Lord, saying that he's standing in the mouth of death, and this ocean of material existence is very, very dangerous. Then the devotee prays to the Lord, seeking protection by surrendering to the Lord. So that is the purpose of offering obeisances, the dandavat to the deities. Srila Rupa Goswami, in fact, mentions that it's a great offense not to offer obeisances before the deity. So, in the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions 10 primary principles of devotion service. Then 10 secondary principles of devotion service. I won't go into the details for want of time. And then another 44 principles, all totaling to 64 principles. That means there are 64 angas of bhakti. Though all are important, he concludes by stating that out of all these, 5 are very, very important, which I mentioned before. That is worshipping the deity form of the Lord, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, association with devotees, Kirtan or Sankirtan, and living in a holy place like Mathura, etc. Of course, we may not be able to live in a holy place like Mathura, but then when we have the deities at home, worship the deities, invite the nearby residents, relatives, friends, and all, the house also can be converted to a temple. So, like I mentioned before, the purpose of bringing deity is to make it a temple. So but all the 64 angas of the bhakti should include body, mind, and words. That's why it said manasa, vacha, karmana. That means by manasa by mind, vacha by words, and by our activities also. And of the 64 principles, it is said around 44 principles are related to deity services. Like one should offer flowers, garlands, offer to the Lord, and then one should put them on one's body. One should immediately bow down and seeing the deity, and so forth. So like that, there are 64 principles, out of which most of them are related to deity worship. So that means this stresses the importance of deity worship in one's spiritual life. And this deity worship is recommended especially for Grihastha devotees, so that all the family members engage in the service of the Lord. Because the Lord is present, then all the family members who cannot go to the temple, they get an opportunity to see the form of the Lord and worship them. So this will purify each and every one of the contaminated material existence, and they can make progress spiritually. Then for deity worship, both theoretical and practical knowledge are very important. These can be, of course, learned from the temple. And it is said that there are many other elements also in deity worship, and each one has a lot of significance. For example, it is said one of the important aspects is Charnamrita. Taking Charnamrita purifies one of all conditional existence. Similarly, circumambulation of the deity, bowing down before the deity, honoring Nirmalya flowers, etc. So there are so many aspects like these which all have relevance to worship of the deities, and each one of them are important in that 64 angas of bhakti. The next point is that singing before the deity. So there is a quote from the Narasimha Purana which states that any person who comes before the deity of Lord Krishna and begins to chant different prayers is immediately relieved from all reactions of sinful activities and becomes eligible to enter into Vaikuntha Loka. So anyone on seeing the deity offers prayers and sings songs related to the Lord, they become free from all the sinful activities, and they become eligible to enter into Vaikuntha Loka. Then bowing down before the deity. It is said in the Skanda Purana, where Lord Brahma tells Narad Muni, anyone who wears the flower garland used by the Lord becomes relieved from all the diseases and reactions to sinful activities and becomes free from the contamination of matter. So, what we offer to the Lord, if we take it as a prasad and put it on one's body, one becomes free from the contamination of matter. Similarly, in the Naradiya Purana, there is a quote which mentions that Anyone who has once bowed down in front of the deity will not come back to this world of birth and death. He will go directly to the abode of Krishna. These are all quotations from Nectar of Devotion. Dancing before the deity. In the Dwaraka Mahatmya, there is a quote which says that a person who in a jubilant spirit feels profound ecstasy, devotional ecstasy while dancing before the Lord and manifests different bodily expressions can burn away all the sinful reactions he has stocked up for many thousands of years. That means that we have accumulated a lot of sinful reactions in so many births, but all of them can be wiped away by just dancing in ecstasy in front of the Lord. And another quote from the same Purana states that just as by clapping the hands one can cause many birds to fly away, similarly the sound of all the birds of all sinful activities which are in the body can be made to fly away by dancing and clapping before the deity of Krishna. So if we clap also, it has got a lot of impetus in our spiritual life. We can also have wonderful relationship with the Lord because the Lord has a form, uh, and we can reciprocate with the Lord. The Lord also reciprocates with the devotees, and that process is what is called bhakti, by engaging all our gross and subtle senses in the devotional process of devotional service. We must engage our mind, all the senses, and that is what is called bhakti yoga. So the beginning process for the deity worship also, it is mentioned that it starts from hearing from the scriptures about the many forms of the Lord as Narsimha or Krishna. Lord has got a dark blue form, bluish complexion as Krishna, then as Lord Rama. So it is not possible to make a form of the Lord without reference to the scriptures. So scripture is given, there is no need for us to speculate as to the formal form of the Lord. We are using the material elements in the form, in forming the deity, but we take reference, and then there is a ceremony called Pratishta Vidhi, whereby we purify the contaminated matter, and then by use of mantras, which is sound form, in the form of sound, the deities and temples become spiritual and they become non-different from the Lord. And the Lord accepts them. And particularly in the Kali Yuga, it is said the process is main dharma is Nam Sankirtana. So our acharyas say that they can chant. Sometimes it may not be possible to chant also. But deities are there in the temple to resolve these issues in a way that if we offer it simply the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that itself is good enough, and there is no need to look for extra money or anything, other resources. We just pray to Krishna, seeking his blessing so that we may be able to render service to the Lord, offer services, offer objects of worship, and keep the house clean. So similarly, in temple, we keep the temple very neat and clean, whereby the Lord becomes satisfied. The Lord is already situated in our heart as Paramatma, but then the process of chanting and other things make the heart temple for the Lord. That is when it is said that the moment our heart becomes free of all the contamination, we can realize the presence of the Lord in the heart. The deity provides an opportunity for us to serve the Lordships. It is said that Lord Rama also built a form of Shivalinga made of sand and water. Because it said that Hanuman went to bring one linga from, I don't know from where he went to bring, but then he was late. So Lord Rama actually made an linga, Shivalinga out of earth and water, and he worshipped this as when he started worshipping. It is said that Hanuman also came back with the linga. So both the Shivalingas are visible in Rameshwaram, I believe, are still exhibited there for worship. So Lord Rama worshipped Lord Shiva in the form of a linga just to show that a devotee is greater than the Lord himself. And it is said that even in the battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was standing behind Krishna on a slightly higher platform when Krishna was seated in the chariot, just to show that scriptures mention that devotees are higher than the Lord himself. That means we don't accept that we are physically higher than the Lord, but on a higher platform, yes. So first we hear about the Lord from the scriptures. Then we try to serve the Lord based on the scriptures, and gradually we develop love for the Lord. And one example is given that even Srimati Rukmini, she first heard about Krishna from Narad Muni, and then she meditated on the form of the Lord, and then the Lord appeared in front of her. Then there are three forms of the Lord to meditate upon. Devotees meditate on the spiritual form of the Lord. The Ashtanga yogis meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord in the heart. And the materialists meditate on the Virat form of the Lord. This universal form of the Lord is meant for those who are grossly materialistic. So they can worship the Virat form of the Lord. Virat form, or we call universal form also. So there are two types of yogis. One who is unattached should meditate on the Paramatma form of the Lord, and an attached yogi should meditate on the Virat form. So many times it is said that yogis also have a difficulty in meditating on the Paramatma form, so they can meditate on the universal form of the Lord as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. By meditating on the process as given in the scriptures, second kind of Srimad Bhagavatam mentions as to how one should meditate. First, start meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord and gradually go up to the calves and then to the thighs, and then thereafter one by one to the smiling face of the Lord. That is how one should see the form of the Lord, starting from the lotus feet and gradually going upwards to the lotus face of the Lord. To the extent that one is attached to the sense gratification, it is said that one should always meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord. So one should continue to recite the first and second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam till purification is achieved. A devotee who has full control of his self should be very sober and peaceful. This is one point mentioned in today's purport, that one who should have control on his own self, and he should be very sober and peaceful, must be satisfied simply with eating whatever fruits and vegetables are available in the forest. That means whatever is available with us in the resources, vegetables and fruits only, they should be offered to the Lord, and then one should be satisfied. A devotee should not contemplate on having an elaborate prasadam. If it is available, a devotee can honor, but he should not meditate on having elaborate prasadam all the time. So it is essential to worship the form of the Lord and not only meditate on the form of the Lord within his mind, but also chant the mantra given by the spiritual master. The spiritual master gives the Diksha mantra, and also when he takes the second initiation, he gives the mantras for worship of the Lord. So devotee should meditate and also chant the mantras. And in the process of that worship, what happens is that the house worship becomes an extension of the temple deity worship. Then there's a point about the impersonal form of worship. Lord has got a form, and the impersonalists worship on the Lord as an effulgent and all. But Shastras give example, like even if for example, the government is a person. The government is not impersonal. Behind the government there is a person. So similarly, the Lord is a person, and the Lord is also the source of the impersonal Brahman Jyoti. That is the first beginning stage for impersonalists. But many believe that Lord does not have a form, but the Lord has got a form, and the Lord has got feeling like we have a feeling. So the impersonalists take a lot of trouble to meditate upon that impersonal aspect of the Lord. And Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord says for them, the process is very, very troublesome and difficult also. That's why we are not advised to follow the impersonalist way of meditating or worshipping the Lord. And the second point is that the devotee should not be anxious about cooking food elaborately, But whatever is available in the forest, one can cook and offer to the Lord within the group of vegetables and fruits. And devotee should be satisfied eating that after offering to the Lord. Uh, but if there is a lot of abundant availability, one should try to offer the best possible thing to the deities. But one should not be desirous of eating palatable dishes. But devotee should be the offered the best of the art, whether it is cooked or uncooked. It said that Rama and Lakshmana ate fruits and roots for 14 years when they were in exile. Similarly, the Goswamis never cooked anything, but they took madhukari. But for deities, one should try and cook whatever nice foodstuff that is possible, available. But the most important factor is that devotee should be regulated. That's why there is an important word called Meta book. Devotee should be regulated in his habits. That is one the good necessary qualification of a devotee. He should not hanker to satisfy his tongue with a particular kind of food stuff. Like people might desire, I must have only Rajbhog. These are all desire to satisfy one's tongue. One should not develop such habits. He should be satisfied to eat whatever prasada is available by the grace of the Lord. So this is how in this Loka Narad Muni advises Dhruva Maharaj to um, make a form of the Lord and worship the Lord by chanting the necessary mantras. So with this, I conclude the class for the day. If any of you have any questions, any comments, you can ask me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Very nicely explained. One point I didn't understand. You
Yes.
said in front of God, we have about, you connected with the death, how to pray on that. So I couldn't follow that part of it.
I mean, we should, you couldn't understand what we pray, is it? Or when we offer obeisances, we have our, in the temple, we say, recite proper mantras related to the deities. So like that, in every temple, different forms of the Lord are present. Somewhere it may be Narasimhadev, somewhere it may be Rama, somewhere it may be Krishna. But then there are prayers that we offer with mantras for Guru, Parampara, and so forth. And gradually we come to the prayer of the Lord. So this is what we offer when we offer Dandavats. Then it is also, like I mentioned, that if you are able to chant in front of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, if we are able to dance in front of the Lord becomes very, very pleased. Uh, if no mantra, if no prayers are accessible, scriptures, there are a lot of prayers. One can recite even these prayers that are mentioned, Shrimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. But if nothing is possible, one can at least recite the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and chant in front of the Lord. Lord becomes pleased.
Not that, Prabhuji. You said about connecting our ending, that is the death part of it.
Connecting our
ending of our life.
ending.
On that, you said one point. I should have written down. I missed that. I couldn't follow it.
I don't think I touched about death. Was it some other point? I don't think I
When
touched.
stand in front of the idol,
Yeah,
prayer
one becomes free from the cycle of birth and death.
Okay. I didn't want to interrupt at that moment itself. I think next time when I get a doubt, I'll just...
you can ask anytime. You can call me personally later. I'll clear the doubts. Not an issue. I'm always available.
No, if you have mentioned that, okay. If you have not mentioned, maybe I have mistaken.
I mentioned that one, by offering obeisances to the deities, one becomes free from the cycle of birth and death. Yes, Mataji. One becomes free from the cycle of birth and death when one, once again, begins to chant. One becomes free from the reactions of sinful activities. By wearing the flower garland used by the Lord, one becomes free from all diseases and reactions to sinful activities. Then another quote I mentioned is that when one develops manifestations of ecstasy in the process of deity worship, in that process, one becomes free from the sinful reaction that has been stocked up. Then I mentioned about by clapping the hands, one can many amount of sinful activities which we have developed by just clapping and dancing before the deity. These can be cleaned. These are the quotes that I gave from different scriptures.
I think this is about when you talked on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay.
At that time, his prayer or something like that you had told.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's quote I can repeat it. Even a slight performance of the 5 limbs of devotion service, association with devotees, chanting the holy name, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, visiting holy places, and deity worship. Even a small performance of each of these angas can awaken love for Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji.
If you have any other doubts also, you can call me, Mataji, or you can send me a message. I'll clear it out.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Anybody else? So if nobody has got any doubt, I can take this class as closed. Thank you all very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.